This clown forgot the stability tech. No! I had found myself on a stunning new world, featuring trees, and rocks, and little bags of flesh with 6 legs on them. And they happen to be in groups. Hold on, I think I know what these people are called. These people are called extroverts. In this moment, panic set in. If there's one skill I did not have, it was talking to other people. And I thought to myself, I would rather shoot them than talk to them. But shooting requires a gun. A gun requires ammunition. And ammunition requires iron. Which requires production. Which requires a factory. Which requires coal extraction. Which requires technology. So on my first day, stranded on this planet, I set out in a frenzy hurry, mining rocks, making burner mining drills, cutting trees, expanding iron production, making copper production, and summoning Gina Reinhardt to make a coal snake. On day 2, I set up electricity production, researched automated diplomacy, and set up the first defenses against the extroverts. On day 3, I came to the conclusion that my higher grades would soon piss off the socialites. So I set up a very basic ammo factory. I also set up a hand-fed red science factory and some automated gears for ease of handcrafting. Now, I think I encountered a being known as Bug Zoo, because I had built a great wall on the east side of my base, because the enemies were also in the east. And then this man literally just goes around my wall. Like, what am I even supposed to do? If the biters are this smart, I would stand no chance. So my wall was sitting there looking pretty, being absolutely useless. My entire base took a heavy hit from these social creatures. And it really hurt, because I was like, the one friend I even created you still betrayed me at the end of the day. After repairing the devious attack, day 4 came along, and it brought even more progress. I automated iron smelting, and built a defense outpost where the biter attack occurred, just in case the biters thought that they could get away with trying the same thing again. On day 6, I did what I always wanted to do and shot into the middle of a crowd. But it was a trap. I was baiting them, the authorities, to pursue me. You see, I had these things called manufactured friends, and they were quick to gun down the biters with counter-arguments. At this point, I recalled one of the greatest quotes of all time. If somebody punches you in the face, you have the right to not only blow them up, but their entire families in their homes as well. George Bush, The Art of Resource Exploitation. Now, some may say that wiping out 5 nests was an immoral thing to do. However, those people, they're talking to each other. What do you think that makes them? That makes them sympathizers with extrovert. Not only is that, but it's also extrovert behavior, talking with other people. It would be clear that this speech is not protected by the law, and that they must be eradicated, as their speech is a form of an enemy itself. After this, progress started speeding up. I made my first iron stack. I then proceeded to die. However, the base was successfully defended, so in my book, it's more of a sacrifice than a worthless death. And then after that, I made the copper smelting stack. Soon after, I had created green circuits, then red science and green science. It turns out that having protection actually allows you to play the game. Having a few turrets here and there so you don't have to completely stress about your factory constantly exploding is huge. Not only for that, but for your mental health as well. Now, I never quite appreciated how overpowered food was until this moment. It can just allow you to tank practically infinite attacks, especially from these small losers with 0 ranged options, so they all gather on you, and they can't do enough damage, while your friends will actually gun them down. It's really just baiting lesser IQ people. After this, I researched grenades, and then immediately automated. Now, you don't understand how good grenades are at dealing with these people, because these people, they tend to gather in large groups, and then pack together tightly, and one grenade would have the same effect as thousands of individual bullets. Not only are you killing more faster, but you're saving yourself effort. And being lazy, man, that is like my top priority. I couldn't live life without that. Now, at this point, these people have attacked my base so much that I wouldn't even consider them terrorists. And what do you do with terrorists? You invade their home, you blow up everything, and then you pretty much just leave. And then at that point, what are they supposed to do? They don't have any resources. They can't fight you back again. At this point, I considered it mission accomplished. I came home only to realize that my base was under attack from a different location, from a different home base. And it appeared that the mission was not fully accomplished yet. However, just maybe 7 more years, and it would be. Surely, the end goal of eradicating all of the enemies of my thought process would be successful. Knowing that the enemy wasn't eradicated, I decided that I couldn't just go out and defeat them. I had to defend myself, and I decided that in that moment I would build a wall. And it would be a great wall. It would keep out all of the people that cause problems, you see? And with this wall, I would need not only gun turrets, but flamethrowers. You see, flamethrowers, much like grenades, have splash damage. And since these people were so keen on grouping up, having a splash damage turret as well as single target turret would make the wall way more efficient and in defending the base. So I handcrafted some military science, built an oil extraction outpost for the flamethrower ammunition, researched the flamethrowers, and on day 18, I had my first successful defense from the biters using the flamethrowers. Now, the trees also took a huge L from the flamethrowers. This is my first time playing a Deathworld in Factorio, so I didn't even compute the fact that fire would probably also burn the vegetation. I had nothing I could really do about this, but it was also just kind of sad because they absorb pollution, which means that the less pollution they absorb, the more biters there are. So it's kind of just like a feedback loop until there's like no trees left. But like, who cares? They're just trees. Wood is useless in this game. Like, other than the first 3 minutes of the game, who gives a shit about wood? After that, you have cool things like iron and steel. At this point, I decided that my old base kind of sucked complete ass, the one producing the red and green sides, and that I needed to pretty much start from scratch. So I didn't complete the 4th side of the wall. I just left it 3-sided, and then my base, a new base, could actually expand out from there and would produce everything and with much greater organization and quantity, because I wouldn't be as under much pressure as I was before, as the wall was complete. The biters, the terrorists, the extroverts could no longer distract me from my true passion of putting 2 objects together to get a new one. Now all the attacks were pretty much getting dealt with autonomously. I had actually had time to actually build the factory, you know, the point of this game. So I built 3 smelting stacks for iron and 2 for copper, and then 1 I would build later for steel. The only correct argument is one with flames behind it. Henry Kissinger. Debate 101. Now at this point, I was pretty non-interacting with the biter, so it's just factory time. First came green circuits, the real red and green science setup. On day 38, I actually make progress towards doing something new. I make oil processing, and then quickly followed by plastics, and then put in plastics, green circuits, and copper wire together. I get red circuits. Now, I love my explosives. Explosives are great. However, I needed sulfur not for that reason this time. I needed it to actually make blue science, which after that, I could make a lot of cool explosives. But red circuits, sulfur, and engines are needed to make blue science, so another piece done. After combining iron, iron 2, and iron 3, I had engines done. And I immediately put it all together, the engines, sulfur, and red circuits, and then I had blue science complete. Now, of all things to make efficient, oil was definitely the most important one. It was ammunition, it was plastic, it was practically my whole life. So I immediately updated the refineries to do advanced oil processing, which basically gave me more oil per oil. Pretty good. Now, my favorite thing in the world is having other people do my work. So after this, the only clear conclusion was actually just to rush for robots, because I like copying blueprints. I hate building it myself. Like that's super tedious. I have to press all these buttons or rotate inserters and stuff. The bots do that automatically. So after this, I rushed for bots. I made sulfuric acid, then I made batteries, then I made electric engines, then I made robot frames, which would be later be turned into both construction and logistic robots. From this attack, not only did I cop a huge L from dying, but I also had to repair it, and I decided at that very moment that I was not going to repair it right now. This is a job for the robots. And I didn't have robots yet. I still needed, like, the personal logistics and power armor and everything. Still quite a little bit of ways, but I was like, you know what? This could be done later. This can be done later when it's easier, because I have the expectation of having it to be easier later, so I'm not going to do it now. Now, I don't know if that's some theory in economics or something. It sounds like it would be, but that was my thought process there, so I just had, like, a broken oil system, but I was like, you know what, the storages are going to hold out on me. I have tanks full of petroleum. Surely they're not going to run out by the time I don't repair it. I repair it. Yes, I'm actually going to keep that in. By day 53, I finally had construction robots and could repair the oil manufacturing. It only took 5 days, but I was doing a lot of other things in that time, like repairing the wall and doing pretty boring stuff. But construction robots were here, which makes life so much easier. It is so much easier to scale things with robots. It is insane in this game, that boost it provides. After repairing the oil refineries, I actually finally went through the trouble to get military science. Science that I left pretty much untouched since researching flamethrowers. But I think that at the end of the day, that's all you really need. I mean, flamethrowers, that's pretty much lifeblood right there. Like, you know, the nurse, they give you some blood, and then they're like, would you like a little bit of flamethrower with you? It really defends against any of your potential enemies in life. It keeps you alive as much as your blood does. After this, I finally started setting up the bot network. This would basically mean that I wouldn't have to repair the wall anymore. Now, I would know I wasn't showing much of that in this video. However, it was a constant headache because I'd be building my factory and then like 3 walls would get destroyed. And then I have to go repair it because, you know, if they get through the walls, then they could destroy a few turrets. That would cost a lot of money. And so we're just running back and forth was costing a lot of time. But the bots, they only work for electricity. And all I had to do to get electricity was burn coal. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's free labor. That's my favorite kind of labor. The biters were about to feel the strength of a technologically superior enemy and blow up before they even knew it hit them. They're going to be like the Ethiopians back during that one time. So I immediately set up ammo production for the tank, have the bots build a wall for me, and then, well, I spend 10 days shooting people with a tank. With the crusade done, I had pretty much cleared up all of the biters within my pollution cloud, and then I immediately deleted off the front wall so I could actually continue building the factory. I decided to go for yellow science next because I already had flying robot frames, and flying robot frames were the most complex of the ingredients. All I needed after that was blue circuits and low density structures, and I already had everything I needed on the bus basically, so it was just throwing all the ingredients together, and then I had yellow science complete. After this, I finally did everything for productivity science. It takes electric furnaces, productivity modules, and rails. I would build the electric furnaces first, and then the productivity modules right next to it, and then I would feed the rails directly into the labs because of the sheer amount you need, and you can't really fit it on yellow belts, and I was still using yellow belts because I had no money, and it takes forever to upgrade to red belts because they cost so much iron, so direct insertion it was. Now at this point, I was kind of tired. I'd spent so long playing this game, and I was just like, I need a break. I need a break. This is too much Factorio. So I started working on all the other pieces to beat the game, specifically what I needed for a rocket silo, and that meant I had to build concrete. For no particular reason at all, other than the fact that I was completely bored while waiting for science to science, I designed a wall on day 84. After this, I expanded the wall, and this was a huge mistake, because I just wanted to beat the game, and then my entire factory started using up electricity and a bunch of resources to build the parts for the wall, instead of all the iron and stone and copper going to, you know, finishing the game. So then it delayed me a lot, but I did have a massive wall in the west, and just in the west, nowhere else. But, you know, one place the biters weren't going to invade from was the west, you know, that's just for sure. On day 87, to continue filling the time of waiting, I hopped back into my tank and then just started wiping out biters again. So here's the music back. On day 92, I spent the entire day driving in a circle. After this, I finally researched the rocket silo, built the rocket silo, realized this needs way more resources to actually build a rocket than in Space Age, and then realized I also need to launch up a satellite. I didn't know about that, okay? How was I supposed to know that? I'm a Space Age player. I own the DLC. Like, I'm not one of the poor people who only has the base game of Factorio. So then I had to set up accumulator and solar panel production to make the satellite to go into the rocket so I could launch it into space and then beat the game. It was a very silly turn of events. I didn't know I needed this stuff. Like in Space Age, if you wanted to waste a rocket by launching into space with like a conveyor belt, go for it. You're a free man. This game denies you freedom. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. That was the Deathworld run. It was an interesting experience. I think it can be explained. The difficulty can be explained by this one graph.